So one of the things that I can say is that, and I may overlap a little bit with energy. So, so Eugene, I'm going to go ahead on because before I move into that, I want to say that since Wayne did bring up the education piece and the food project that we're looking to do more of with the Columbia Public Schools. And by the way, when we talk about food, we're talking about organic food and non-GMOs and that type of food production, vegetables primarily, essentially everything actually at this point. But so on that note, I want to mention something else with the Columbia Public Schools that overlaps the reports that we've been taking to the different boards and commissions. December 3rd, we went to the City Council and asked for them to raise our renewable energy standard to 80% by 2013. We thought that this was doable. We told them that the ideas out of our different groups, if we were to implement these ideas, that would take us a good part of the way there, more than half at least, to this the renewable standard, if we would just follow these ideas, and that we also knew of other communities that were doing 100% and 90% and 88%. And so we felt like it was very reasonable for us to ask for, and they were doing it now. So we felt it was reasonable for us to ask for 80% by 2015. The thing that's different about what we're asking and the other communities, though, is that we would like to start a different model, which kind of relates to the EEZ conversation and question about jobs. We'd like to see a model that is more a people model rather than a corporate model. We have a project in our community called Solar One right now, and all of the renewable energy that we get here in Columbia is based on a corporate model. And so the terminology when they started Solar One wasn't really in our vernacular so much, the 1% and the 99%. But what we would like to see is a 99% model, so that everyone who'd like to participate could, that, you know, we could address cost issues, low, middle, higher income, you know, blocks or not, you know, to make sure that there weren't any roadblocks for everyone to participate, to put solar panels on everyone's roof or out in their yard. So we were talking about more education and jobs as well, and also some possible ideas of creating a really big Manhattan-type project almost, working with the Columbia Public Schools, and we're making some initial inroads with them to do some projects with homemade solar panels, which we would like to try to find the really efficient, high quality, maybe do-it-yourself kits or whatever we would then buy in mass, depending on how this takes off. But we're discussing this right now with Columbia Public Schools. And so in their summer camp program and their adult career center, we look to having very soon an opportunity for folks to make handmade solar panels. And those are things that will be low cost and maybe no cost, depending on how we work through getting this offered to the community. So that's kind of related with education as well as our energy piece. And the infrastructure and transportation has a big part in the energy piece as well, because transportation is a big chunk of our emissions. So we've been talking to the boards and commissions. That's what the mayor asked us to do when we asked the city council to raise our renewable energy standards. So we have proceeded to do that. We have met with several advisory boards and commissions already. So on the transportation and infrastructure part, we went to the Transportation Commission and talked to them about some various aspects of improving our bus transportation, and a report that Carl has written that I'll be glad to, if anyone's particularly interested in this, give you a copy, that talks about a user-based fee that we can use for development that is greatly different than the fee that we collect right now, which doesn't really have any long-term planning in terms of maintenance of our roads and our sewers, and it doesn't have a high percentage of cost that's passed on to developers in this user fee model. So we're looking at showing these boards and commissions how we could do something different within our fee structure that would then provide us more money for some of these other things that our community needs, such as improving our bus service and certainly our roads as well, but our sewers and other things. So if you're interested in that category of transportation and infrastructure, I'll be glad to provide you a handout, and you could read more about the user-based fee and some of the data and percentages that Carl is more adept at talking about at this time. But we'll have to see who might head up that committee, or you may just want to see me afterwards if you're interested in that, because Carl's not here to chair that committee tonight. So if you are interested in that, please do see me, actually, and I'll be happy to give you that handout. Then, so we did go to that particular board and commission. And so that's pretty much the report from the transportation and infrastructure folks. We did also ask them to look into a bicycle program. There was a lot of support in addition to increasing the hours and the range for the buses and adding more routes. And in addition to that, we had a lot of support for a free bicycle sharing kind of an idea, or very inexpensive rental. And it was interesting because at the Transportation Commission meeting where we were making our presentation, they were talking about abandoned bikes here in our community and what do we do with these bikes. So, right away afterwards, I heard them and I said, well, we have an idea for those. So we could, gather these abandoned bikes and, maybe paint them a bright orange or something and put the city logo on them and have volunteers to, help us make sure they're maintained, and determine several little locales that, these bikes can just be picked up and ridden and dropped off at these other locations. And of course our buses also do have the bike racks now on the buses. So we're just trying to solve some problems for our community that way, as well as, reduce CO2 emissions to help us, get out of our cars a little more. So and the one last idea also on that committee we had was kind of a more long-range plan. There is a high-speed rail plan from Kansas City to St. Louis that will go through Jefferson City. We'd like to look at the possibility of connecting to that, connecting Columbia to that in the long term, and maybe, some way incorporating our Colt Railroad loop to, help advance that and even connect other communities like Centralia and whatnot into this high-speed rail plan. So that's the report from the Committee on Transportation and Infrastructure.